Hello, I'm Bill Ferguson. I want to talk about spirituality. There are the two realms of life. There's the realm of love, the experience of love, the presence of the very essence of who you are. And then there's the realm of circumstances. This is the realm of love, joy, peace, happiness, and miracles. This is the realm of fear, upset, and suffering. In this realm, the only thing that matters is the experience of love. The circumstances of life are totally irrelevant. Over here, it's the experience of love that's irrelevant. The only thing that matters are the circumstances. And our whole world lives over here. And in this state, life is about trying to force the circumstances to be a certain way. We fight, resist, hang on, and withdraw. But instead of creating the happiness that we seek, we create a life of fear, upset, and suffering. Well, the name of the game is to learn to live in the light, the experience of love. And I used to think that that was the end all. I used to think that it was all about living in the experience of love, living in the light. But then I discovered that there's actually something much, much greater. The experience of love isn't the end all, it's the gateway. It's through that experience of love, it's through that state of oneness, you can connect with Source, you can connect with God, you can connect with the power of the universe. And that's where the fireworks are. In that connection, you can be guided along the way in life. In that connection, miracles can happen in front of you. In that connection, the power of God can flow through you into your life. I want to give you an example of a miracle that I saw once. Years ago, I went to a program by Benny Hinn. And what he would do is he would wave his hand, and then all these people would fall down. Well, I saw that on TV, but then he came to town, and then I saw it in person. He waved his hand, and all these people fell down. Now, they didn't get hurt, they just fell in their chairs, but they all fell down. Well, where I was sitting, nobody fell. And I was at the edge of the section, right on the aisle, and then everybody in the aisle across from me fell down, about 4 feet away. And it was so obvious these people weren't actors and actresses. They were real people like you and me. But for whatever reason, Benny waved his hand, and all these people fell. Well, what he did was he connected with God, and then God worked through him. That power of God flowed through him into his life and in those people. For me, it was a profound miracle. But things like that happen. The more you can connect with Source, the more you get fireworks. Now, my brother said something to me once that was so valuable, it's always stayed with me. He said that the only thing that really matters is what's inside of us, not our circumstances. So God's not particularly interested in what happens outside of us. God's interested in what happens inside of us. So we're constantly being brought what we need for our healing and our growth. The challenges, the adversity that we experience is being brought to us. It's part of our divine choreography. It's being brought to us to push us towards the oneness, towards making that connection with God. Well, the more you can connect with God, the more you're able to flow with life, the more you move through these times quickly, but also you can be guided as to what it is that you need to do. And there's different ways you can be guided. You can be guided through your intuition. Things can happen around you that will guide you, and you can get very specific messages. So I want to give you an example of something that happens outside of you. Years ago, my wife and I lived in this complex, and there was a gate at the front. You push a button in your car, the gate opened, you would drive through, and then when it came time to leave, you'd go to the back gate, you'd push the button, and then that gate would open. Well, there was this one night, we just finished our weekend workshop, Return to the Heart. We were in this profound, beautiful state of oneness, and then we drove home, and before I could push the button to open the gate opened by itself. Now, I'd been there for 5 years. I'd never seen that. It's like it was so highly unusual. And then I drove through, and it was just like so odd. Both of us were like, what happened? And then as we drove into the complex, it was a beautiful night. And, and at the time I had a convertible, the top was down. My wife suggested, let's drive around some. I said, okay. So we drove to the back gate, and then all of a sudden, before I could push the button, the back gate opened. And this was just like so unusual. So we started thinking, there's a sign. What's the sign in this? And then we started thinking, well, maybe it's a sign to let us know that the way is always being paved for us. And then we kept looking. Did we get a message? Is that the message? Is the way always being paved for us? Is that the message? Are we getting a message? And we just kept being engaged with that. Well, the next day we went to the store, and we were still engaged in that question. Was this a message? Was this a message? And we walked into the store, and then there was this sales lady that was actually on the other side of the store. She saw us. She mistook us for the wrong people, but she yelled out to us, and she said, "Oh, hi! Did you get the message?" And my wife and I, it's like we almost fell to the floor because it was such a powerful message. It was such a powerful accent to the message that we'd already received. Yes, we got it. The way is being paid for us. So sometimes that's how life works. You're being brought messages. Sometimes you get messages by words, very clear messages. There was this time years ago, my brother was in Denver, and he was praying, meditating, and he felt something grab his hand, and it pulled him to the desk, and then he started writing, but he was not the author of what he wrote. The words flowed through him. And then he read what he wrote, and it changed his life. And then he shared it with me, and it changed mine. So I want to share it with you. And it's one short paragraph, and it says everything you need to know about life. And as I read this, listen to it as though it's spoken directly from God to you. Here it is. Trust me. I will guide you. You don't know, and I do. I love you more than you know. I am the source of all you desire. You can only succeed by surrendering to my will. You think you know the way, but you don't. Learn to listen to me. Only I am the source of joy and fulfillment. You will never truly get what you want on your own. I am what your heart yearns for. Serve me. Very, very powerful message. And here's another one. This one's my favorite. And again, listen to it as though it's spoken directly from God to you. I wait upon you, for I know within your heart is the desire to know me, and I am always here. When your desire to know me becomes stronger than your desire to produce a better way from the self, then you will know me. But as long as you decide the better way, I will wait. See, and that's what we do. We decide the better way. And we decide that the better way is always in the realm of circumstances. You see, but it's not. That's an illusion that'll keep us stuck forever. See, there's the two different realms of life. There's the oneness, the separateness, the experience of love, the circumstances. Totally opposite realms, but more accurately, totally opposite directions. You can either have your life be about going towards source or towards the circumstances. So imagine over here, there's this beautiful light, the power of the universe. And you can call it God, you can call it source, you can call it love. Doesn't make any difference what you call it. But the more you're over here, life works incredibly. And when you're over here, the circumstances of life are totally irrelevant. The only thing that matters is that experience of love. And then the further you get from the light, the more you enter the realm of circumstances. The more you enter the realm of fear, upset, and suffering. So and our whole world is going this direction. Well, we have a choice as to what is our life going to be about. Is it going to be about going towards Source, going towards God, going towards that realm of miracles, or is it going to be going towards the circumstances, the realm of fear, upset, and suffering? Well, obviously, the opportunity is to go this direction. But to go this direction, there are two main elements. One of them is you got to let go of the circumstances. You got to be willing for all of your fears to come true. You got to be willing for your life to never change. Be willing, not in your actions, but in your heart. And in letting go, it's trusting in God, trusting that you're going to be okay no matter what happens. And then the irony is, the more you let go of the circumstances, the more you gain a deep appreciation for life, for everything. The more you move towards Source, the more you move towards God, and then the more you can have your dreams come true, but you don't need them. And then the more we hang on to the circumstances, it keeps us stuck in this realm of fear, upset, and suffering. So the opportunity is to let go of the circumstances and move towards Source. So one of the elements in doing that is to let go of the circumstances. The other one is to actually physically seek that connection with Source. At any point in time, you're going to be able to know, well, what's the next step for me? Well, maybe there's things you need to learn. Maybe there's things you need to read. Maybe you need to meditate. Maybe you need to go to, religious services. But listen inside and then do what it says. Another thing that's so important is to find things that you can do that recharge the batteries to your soul. Find things that you can do that get you out of the realm of circumstances back into the realm of love of who you are. You want to do things that reconnect you to Source. And one of the things that I do to do this is I do a form of a meditation where I get in a comfortable position, I close my eyes, and then I just imagine being in the presence of God, this profound presence of love. It's like, oh, how wonderful it is, the power of the universe. But not only is it the power of the universe, but it is an incredibly loving, caring power of the universe. It's like, oh, how wonderful, how wonderful. And I allow that presence to just overcome me and just envelop my whole body. And I just feel this presence of love in every cell. And I just bask in that love and bask in that joy and bask in that peace. It's like, oh, how wonderful it is, how wonderful it is. Being in the presence of God is the only thing that matters. Everything else is so totally irrelevant. And then I do that for about 5 minutes, and it changes my life. I get firmly connected in that state of oneness, and then I live my life from that state of oneness, and then, of course, great things happen. So I invite you to do that. Life, you can have a life that's more wonderful than anything you can imagine. But it takes living your life and looking at life in a very different way. But it's possible. You got to let go of the circumstances, make that connection with God. And then watch what happens. Watch the incredible life that unfolds.